Welcome to another Flasher Friday. This piece is called Stay and is another story that is based in the universe I created around a character named Reinhold, who is a wolf shifter, and three sisters who were gifted the wolves as a present for their service to humanity, as they are all powerful witches. Originally published was a story called I forgot the name of the story, but the link will be below. At any rate, it's over at Totally Bound under a separate name and deals with the oldest sister. And then recently through City Lights Press, Submit to Him came out and dealt with the younger sister. And this flasher will actually be a snippet dealing with the middle sister. So I hope you enjoy. It's called Stay. Lynn came in and shut the door behind her, her hair swirling over her pear-shaped ass. The plush bed felt soft beneath him. Lights were off, but candlelight flickered, casting shadows over her body, emphasizing the roundness of her breasts and the curve of her sweet ass. Scents of jasmine and lavender filled the air. Reinhold kept his gaze on her. His essence stood at the foot of the bed, her hair blanketing full bosoms. Naked, she held her eyes lowered, looking over Reinhold's body. He shuddered. Watching her eyes travel the line of his body, he couldn't help but smile when she got to his thick cock and grinned. She licked her lips. "I'm not touching you." He frowned. She intended to claim him today in ritual, and he wasn't sure what to do. "Then what did you bring me back here for?" His tone remained neutral. She set a hand on her ample hip. "That's for you to figure out, wolf." Reinhold licked his lips. He studied her for a moment, tilting his head to one side. His cock twitched. She shifted her weight from one hip to the other. The play of light over her curvy body softened her features. Her round face had been hidden by her bangs until she swept wisps of hair away from her green eyes. Slowly, Reinhold sat up on his elbows. Curiously, he slid forward, keeping an eye on her. She continued to sway from one side to the other. Reinhold was enjoying the play of light off her pale flesh. "Can I touch you?" She nodded, not hiding the seduction in her voice. "For the moment." He stopped himself. No asking stupid questions, he reminded himself. Just give in to her needs and to her wants. Except he didn't know what those were just yet. His breath caught in his throat. Her eyes twinkled, seemed to beckon him forward. Again, moving very slowly, Reinhold scooted forward and crossed one leg beneath the other. He now sat at the edge of the bed. "I am yours to call, as you need, as you want. I am your wolf." She smiled, cocking her head to one side. She closed her eyes and parted her lips as if to speak, but instead said nothing. "You want me." He touched a hand to her breast, feeling the weight of her in his palm. She was soft, plump. Erect nipples begged for his mouth. Silence echoed loudly in his head until her heartbeat throbbed gently beneath his hand. She nodded. Reinhold moved forward to suckle her breast. A hand pressed against his chest. She shook her head. But, what did she always tell him over the phone? Feel me? Touch. Play. Caress. Enjoy. Reinhold thought harder, withdrawing his hand only to set it on her thigh. She opened her eyes and set a hand on his shoulder. The sensation startled him. Her hand was warm against his skin. "What do you think I want to teach you?" Her voice was soft as the candlelight. Power flowed delicately down her arm and through his body. Lines of energy, soft and glowing, became visible while they surrounded him. Warmth, sweet warmth, filled his body and hardened him further. She cocked her head slightly. "Well?" Reinhold let out a long, slow breath. He closed his eyes and focused on the sensation of her hand on his shoulder. Her gentle touch called to the inner beast. He swore he felt something pet the wolf inside of him. It wagged its tail. A second hand cupped the back of his head, fingers moving in slow circles around his scalp. His skin tingled, but his dick jumped. He opened his eyes and saw that she had slid between his thighs and let his cock brush against her belly. He had to drop the rancor in his existence and let the wolf out to play. It had been too long. The idea that he could be free with her for a short time sat in his head while he looked at her. His essence remained still, a perfect model of curvaceous woman with her hair flowing down around her hips, shielding the sides of her face. The honesty in her expression came through in the soft movement of her eyes. His body stiffened. Heart throbbed loudly in his chest. Blood pumped south, alerting his every nerve to be aware of what she would offer him if she took him to bed. When? There was no if. He'd never refuse her request. She leaned forward, her mouth so close to his he could smell her scent even if he wasn't lupine. "It's up to you," she spoke in a low whisper. "Are you going to take what I have to offer?" If you enjoyed this Flasher Friday, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you're catching this on Patreon, please pass the word along. Links and information are found below. Thank you, and I shall be earlier next week.